Hi there, I'm Anna Fedoruk, and my research today asks a simple question with a surprisingly unexplored answer. Can what you read predict how you show up as a citizen? Youth reading rates are falling, and youth civic engagement is also falling. These two problems are almost always discussed separately, but what if there was a connection between them? My research asks, to what extent do reading habits predict civic participation for high school students? And does the preference for reading fiction versus nonfiction predict the type of engagement? So either civic engagement versus political engagement. This builds on three ideas. Firstly, reading has been established to be an important metric correlated with civic engagement. Including it in this study specifically evaluates if this correlation is apparent for high schoolers, while also providing a basis to compare readers and non-readers later in the study. Additionally, the proposed research draws on evidence that reading fiction helps specifically in developing social cognitive skills and empathy, affective skills, and nonfiction literature helps in developing knowledge or cognitive skills. Lastly, similar to the previous framework, this new framework draws on the fact that civic engagement is defined as community-based activities, like volunteering, also associated with affective skills, and political engagement is defined as government-focused actions associated with cognitive skills. With these frameworks in mind, the hypothesis for this research is that high school students who read for pleasure have higher rates of civic participation. Specifically among readers, those who mostly consume fiction literature will have higher rates of civic engagement due to the focus on affective skills tied to both civic engagement and fiction, and among those who mostly consume nonfiction, they will have higher rates of political participation due to the correlation between cognitive skills, nonfiction books, and political engagement. And so no study has compared these mirroring elements before, but beyond the theoretical contributions, this research also has practical implications. Most civics curriculum today relies almost entirely on informational content like textbooks. If reading fiction is linked to civic engagement in a way nonfiction isn't, it creates an argument for incorporating fiction into civics curriculum. And even if the theory doesn't hold up exactly as predicted, we'd still learn whether it's reading in general or reading type specifically that matters for youth engagement. And so to test this, I'd survey over 200 high school students across more than 5 states, with a 5-minute interview for a subset of 20. Students would answer Likert scale questions on reading habits, civic engagement, political engagement, empathy, and knowledge, all adapted from Circle's civic measurement models framework. Based on their responses, I'd sort students into 4 groups: non-readers, fiction-dominant readers, non-fiction-dominant readers, and mixed readers, then statistically compare habits across groups. And finally, here are my references. And so if reading really does shape civic life differently depending on type, that's a finding schools can act on to create the next generation of engaged citizens. Thank you.